Why don't you go ahead and take that, Nick?
Plus, South Carolina's Supreme Court issues a significant ruling impacting the death penalty in the state. We break down what this exactly means.
And former President Donald Trump speaking at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference, why the appearance is being met with some backlash.
Well, thank you for joining us here at 2:30. I'm Nick Sturdivant.
And I'm Jane Monreal. First, we are reminding you to stay weather aware today. Really, for the next few days, you're really going to feel the heat. Taking a live look at Uptown from the view cam. We're off to a smashing start, aren't we?
I said, whew, because it's hot outside. It looks hot, but it looks beautiful outside, KJ.
Guys, it is beautiful out there, but looks can be deceiving. We are heating up today, and once things start heating up, then things start to boil over, and that's the case. We'll have a few showers and storms today as well as the days ahead. Taking a look right now at satellite and radar, notice these showers are moving along a path coming in from the north and west. So last night we had a line to push right through the metro, intense lightning. That's not the case right now. We'll have a lower chance for this evening. Meanwhile, notice this path is just to our west, so it should just pass us to the west, moving through the upstate. We could have an isolated shower over the next few hours. By and large, most of us are hot and dry for now, and it is quite muggy out there. Let's check in on the dew points coming in at 2:30. We have dew points in the low and mid 70s, some upper 60s, such as Hickory around 70, and dew points in the mountains not too bad there. We'll consider that to be refreshing compared to the rest of us. Heat indices, this is that feels like temperature. Once you combine the heat and humidity, it feels like 95 in Charlotte, 94 in Lancaster, 91 in Hickory, 94 in Statesville. Rock Hill, your feels like temperature the same in Gastonia at 95, Albemarle the same for you, and Wadesboro around 93. For this evening, the heat will stick around. We'll have a slow cool down for tonight, if you want to call it that, by 8 p.m. Still in the mid 80s. Could have some extra cloud cover and isolated shower out there for dinner time. Now coming up, we'll talk more about the heat, why you need to stay weather aware, and some ways you can certainly beat this heat. That's all coming up in your forecast.
All right, thank you, KJ. Well, now's a good time to download our free WCNC Charlotte mobile app. It has an hour-by-hour and 10-day forecast that is updated by our weather impact team. That way you can stay weather aware as you plan out your week. Scan the QR code right there on your screen to download our app now.
An unfortunate truth in our community: homicides in Charlotte up significantly. CMPD data shows so far in 2024 it's outpaced last year's count. And now that we are in the thick of summer, many worry the situation will only get worse.
WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg digs into the data to verify if violent crime actually rises in the summer.
Of course, summertime is a great time for people to get out and about, but with more people out, it seems crime is also on the rise. So the question, do violent crimes rise during the summer months? Let's verify. Our sources, CMPD, Mark Raley, coordinator for Mothers of Murdered Offspring, and Dr. David Jacobs, Atrium Health trauma surgeon. Another summer day brings the heat, children outside playing, picnics, and just plain fun. But for some,
the grief is always there.
The summer months can bring a devastating reality.
It's scary because you never know what day is going to turn.
As a mentor, Rayleigh has seen violence take kids in front of the gun and behind it. He says during the summer, it's worse.
So people are out more than the nighttime, so a lot of crime happens.
While Rayleigh is trying to save kids, helping them with their mental health.
I try to do a lot of things and workshop for young men in his honor to help them to make the right choices. The right choices. That one bad choice can cause a devastation for your life forever.
Dr. Jacobs is in the operating room trying to save them as well.
We do see more gunshot wounds and stab wounds and what we call blunt assault in the months of June, July, and August.
According to Jacobs, historically, he usually sees more patients in the summer.
They're more active, there are more daylight hours. Maybe partially the reason for this, but probably doesn't explain everything.
CMPD data shows violent crime from 2020 to 2023, including homicide, rape, aggravated assault, robbery, and non-fatal gunshot injuries, spike in the summer months. You can see in this chart the spikes happening in June, July, and August, with the highest amount of violent crimes happening in the month of July. a spike Rayleigh says doesn't need to happen.
I truly do believe it takes a world, not a village, to stop this crime that's happening across our nation.
So we can verify that, yes, violent crime does spike in the summer months. We have a list of mentorship programs on our website, WCNC.com. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And when online claims or questions come into our newsroom, our Verify team works very hard to research and gather the facts.
And with that being said, we can't do what we do without you. If you see something and you want our team to look into it, let us know. You can send us an email to verify@WCNC.com or reach out to us on social media. Well, in a unanimous decision, the South Carolina Supreme Court ruling today that the death penalty for certain crimes is legal. This move clears the way for executions to continue. The justices ruled state lawmakers appear to be committed to making the death penalty as humane as possible. South Carolina has not put an inmate to death since 2011. The state's death penalty now includes lethal injection, a firing squad, and the electric chair.
Today, we are learning one person in North Carolina has now reported showing symptoms of listeria. The CDC says it's likely linked to a nationwide outbreak tied to Boar's Head ready-to-eat products. This comes as the company is recalling an additional 7 million more pounds of meat. According to the USDA, the recall now covers every item produced at the Boar's Head, Virginia facility. That's 71 different products. So if you bought one of those items, you can return it at the store for a full refund.
Meanwhile, more people in South Carolina are getting WIC benefits, and it's all thanks to new technology. The state's Department of Health says over 100,000 people received assistance back in May. They're crediting the high numbers to the rollout of a new app. Participants can use their phone to upload documents and see which stores have WIC-approved foods.
A WCNC Charlotte investigation is exposing 100,000 tons of coal ash buried around a Mooresville daycare. So much coal ash combined, it would weigh as much as an aircraft carrier.
WCNC Charlotte's Nate Morbidos spent the last 2 months investigating, even collecting samples for a scientist to test, something the government has apparently refused to do.
Coal ash contains toxic ingredients, including known carcinogens, one of them radioactive. Yet we found a violation of state rules meant to limit exposure near this daycare. On the surface, the view can take your breath away. It's no wonder families are racing to live here, but a cloud hangs over this scene.
I'll get honks and yells of support.
And people like Lori Deans,
But then I'll also get screamed at and cussed.
believe the truth lies buried,
The dangers have been downplayed.
some of it under these kids.
I don't want anyone else to have to go through what we have.
For Deans, it's personal. In 2021, she says her 27-year-old son Aaron died from cancer.
The light in every room.
While we'll never know if coal ash harmed Aaron, his mom says leading up to his testicular cancer diagnosis, he spent years digging in the dirt for work.
He did not deserve to live on toxic waste and not be warned.
Deans now dedicates her life to uncovering what's in the soil.
I don't want to step in it.
Depending where she steps in Mooresville, coal ash could be beneath her feet. Coal ash is a potentially toxic coal-burning byproduct found in communities across the country, and we found it in large amounts all over Mooresville. State data analyzed by WCNC Charlotte identified hundreds of thousands of tons of coal ash under at least 16 sites in this town. Sites located in areas surrounding this longtime Duke Energy coal-fired power plant. The utility legally sold the ash decades ago as cheap fill dirt for construction projects. Today, Duke Energy points out the sale of ash back then followed the state regulations of the time. Regulations focused on safe use for people and the environment. That was before scientists learned of coal ash's potential danger to humans. Now regulated by the state, these so-called coal ash structural fills are supposed to sit deep underground. But at this public median near Tudor Time of Mooresville,
And I hit coal ash on the first try.
Deans discovered what looks like coal ash barely covered. A similar looking material runs along the fence line of Tudor Time. State environmental records she found show there's up to an estimated 100,000 tons of coal ash under this Brawley School Road Business Park. home to the daycare.
And those parents need to be warned.
While filming on a public street in late June, Tudor Times director approached us, expressing concerns not about the coal ash,
Already had 2 parents come up.
but instead that our cameras would identify kids.
Records show it's 100,000 tons beneath this area of coal ash.
Okay.
That doesn't concern you?
Really not going to talk about it.
Do the parents know that there's coal ash under here?
I'm not going to get roped into any of that, but thank you.
Neither Tudor Times director nor corporate office would answer that question. But a spokesperson told WCNC Charlotte the daycare, built more than 20 years ago, has no reason to believe there's any health or safety risk to students and staff.
Do you think it's safe?
Safe for kids to play over the top of coal ash? No.
Dr. Julia Kravchenko is an assistant professor with the Duke University School of Medicine.
I don't think it's safe.
The mother has researched the dangers of coal ash.
Would you let your kids play on top of coal ash?
No.
She says scientists continue to learn more about the risk to humans, identifying a laundry list of potential health impacts.
Long-term exposure is much worse.
Dr. Kravchenko says while a lot depends on a person's specific makeup and what's actually found in the ash, children are especially vulnerable.
They could be easily contaminated.
Dr. Kravchenko thinks regulators need to test soil that contains coal ash. The last publicly documented test of this coal ash found low levels of select metals like arsenic, chromium, and lead, all below allowable limits. That was nearly 30 years ago, in 1995. Since regulators have apparently not tested since, WCNC Charlotte did. With guidance from another Duke University scientist who agreed to test the soil for us, we donned safety equipment, collected samples from the public right-of-way, and sent them to him for analysis. We expect results in the near future. While we wait, WCNC Charlotte alerted the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality about the apparent exposed coal ash we spotted. The agency confirmed our suspicions. A spokesperson told us the state is working with the owners, including Tudor Time, to address the areas that appear to need attention, assuring us when properly managed, a coal ash structural fill is closed and maintained to prevent the potential exposure pathways of ingestion or inhalation. State and federal regulators have created rules to minimize the potential for harm, including requiring structural fills be at least 1.5 feet below the surface. Duke Energy, meanwhile, has long dismissed concerns tied to coal ash.
Is coal ash toxic?
No.
That's what a spokesperson for the utility said in 2019, as WCNC Charlotte investigated in part unusually high rates of thyroid cancer in Mooresville.
There is a constituent in coal ash, arsenic, that is a carcinogen. Someone would have to have a very high exposure rate over a very long period of time.
Now in 2024, Duke Energy declined an on-camera interview and again downplayed potential health risks. Not only that, the utility told us in an email the people who bought the coal ash from them all those years ago retained full responsibility for maintenance. But some believe maintenance is not enough.
These layers of coal ash, they should be removed.
Just ask either of these mothers.
I believe my son would still be alive if he hadn't grown up around this toxic waste.
Both advocating for you to look beyond the surface. In this case, beneath unsuspecting kids. Within the last year, the Environmental Protection Agency warned of increased cancer risk tied to arsenic, radium, and gamma radiation in coal ash. Duke Energy told us the findings are not reflective of real-world conditions and made unreasonable assumptions. Not to mention, the agency's research has found coal ash should be regulated as non-hazardous material. The State Department of Environmental Quality, like Duke Energy, also declined to talk with us on camera, but we believe there will be more opportunities, especially once we find out the test results of the soil samples we collected. Rest assured, we also intend to share those results with you. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
The conversation of North Carolina public school athletes signing NIL deals could be back on the table. Today, the State High School Athletic Association gave a presentation on how potential name, image, and likeness policy could work and what steps the state need to take to find a solution. 3 of the 4 states that border North Carolina have already adopted NIL policies, and a number of Board of Education members agreed it needs to be addressed.
Meanwhile, the start of fall semester for colleges is right around the corner. Right now, the North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority is helping students complete their FAFSA before priority deadline in 2 weeks. The agency has hired nearly 90 counselors and college advisors to help. So far, 3,700 students have taken part in the program. This follows the botched rollout of the new FAFSA form, which caused months of delays and stress for students nationwide.
A reminder for parents of CMS students, if your kid plans to ride the bus this year, you need to register for transportation by 6 p.m. tomorrow. The district says 75,000 students have registered so far. That's up 6,000 from this time last year. You can find a link to register on the CMS website by clicking the buses link on the homepage.
Topping national headlines right now, former president and current Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is in Chicago. He's attending the annual convention for the National Association of Black Journalists. Now, Trump is doing a Q&A with political journalists focused on the issues facing the black community. Vice President Kamala Harris was invited as well. In the last couple of hours, NABJ says they're in conversation with Harris's team to schedule a Q&A session at some point in September. The former president's invitation sparked an intense debate within the organization and a flurry of arguments online. But NABJ's president Ken Lemon says it is a long-standing practice to invite nominees from both political parties to address the organization.
Every year, every presidential election cycle, we invite the presidential candidates to come. We extend that to anyone who is a nominee, and in this case, we have 2 presumptive nominees. We invited both of them. We got a yes from one of them.
He added that it is journalists' job to have these tough conversations so people can get their information straight from the source. As the interview wraps up, we'll have the details right here on WCNC Charlotte. For the latest updates on this story and more, download our mobile app.
Starting today, the heat is ramping up in the Carolinas. We're reminding you to stay weather aware as you make plans for the next several days.
Yeah, meteorologist KJ Jacobs is tracking the impacts of this excessive heat. Hey, KJ.
That's right, guys. The heat is building. So start now looking for ways to stay cool and stay hydrated. Those are those simple steps we have to keep in mind, especially if you want to enjoy the sunny weather that we have right now. So you'll want to take it easy out there as we move throughout your day. Gorgeous views as you see it here coming in across the area. This is Dallas, North Carolina, as we are starting to heat up today. Plenty of sunshine out there, and the current temperatures upper 80s and low 90s. We'll have even hotter weather moving in over the coming days, Thursday and Friday. Yes, temperatures are going to crank up, so get ready for that high heat and humidity. But right now, Hickory at 87, 90 in Charlotte, 88 in Rockingham, and 90 in Concord. Once you factor in the humidity, it certainly feels hotter out there, more like the mid-90s. Some of us could touch 100 by this afternoon. All is dry across the area now, but we do have that potential for a couple of the storms today to turn strong, even severe. So let's jump into the next 12 hours here. Looking ahead, rain chances overall will remain low, but we know it's the summer. We can have the heat and humidity building up. You cannot rule out that isolated shower or storm, but in this case, we could have the potential for a couple of them to turn strong and even severe. So this is Futurecast. So here's what's incoming. Taking a look to our west and northwest, because these storms are almost on the highway. They're coming downhill through today and even tonight and today, tomorrow, as they'll be moving in right along this path here, almost moving in this more circular fashion. As we'll have by 2 p.m., most of us are dry. This is a depiction of what's likely happening right now, and we'll continue to see the convection coming downhill. Notice by 8 p.m. tonight, we could have 1 or 2 isolated showers and thunderstorms out there hitting the mountains. And then early tomorrow morning, we could have additional development by daybreak. So 7, 8, 9 a.m. tomorrow. By Thursday morning, we'll have some showers and even some thunderstorms moving in. So by 2 p.m., notice we could have some activity out there. So when you leave home tomorrow morning, take an umbrella with you, take a raincoat, but also make sure you have our app, have those notifications turned on. That way, if there's lightning nearby, you're getting that notification right there, just so you know what's happening near you. These storms will be capable of producing some heavy rain at times, but in between any shower or thunderstorm, it is going to be hot and it is going to be muggy. Heat alerts right now, no heat alerts across the Carolinas, at least North Carolina for today, but we're starting to see that heat building. It is going to expand and also cover more ground as we move into your Thursday and Friday. So I have the numbers here for you when we factor in that heat and humidity. So triple digit heat, anytime we're looking at 100 or above, we're looking at a feels like temperature by Thursday at 106 and 108 by Friday. And we'll stay in that range when the heat can be impactful to start off your weekend. So triple digit heat likely to continue throughout the weekend. Your day tomorrow, the daytime temperatures tomorrow between 92 and 94. But once again, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds. A beautiful day today as well as your day tomorrow, but we certainly have those impacts to watch for and be prepared for. 94 for Thursday, 96 for Friday, and 93 for your day Saturday. Rain chances for the weekend. We know we got to look at the Guy Roofing 7-day forecast and talk about those rain chances. Saturday looks to be the wetter of the 2 days, guys, and then by Sunday, rain chances will come down some. And then we'll see temperatures really remaining in the low and mid 90s throughout early next week.
All right, into that first week of August. Thanks, KJ. Earlier this month, 37-year-old Daniel Gomez was shot and killed, leaving behind his 6-year-old dog, Zeus. And after his owner died, Zeus had nowhere to go.
Local organizations say instances like this may happen more than you know. WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker shows us how one nonprofit is seeking solutions to ensure every animal gets a second chance.
Meet this prancing pup.
The squeaky really gets him.
Parading around a backyard in North Charlotte.
Zeus, come here. Yeah, come here.
Zeus.
What are you doing?
Is in a transition period.
I think he's in the best place he could possibly be right now.
Zeus's owner was tragically killed earlier this month, but Leah Hendrickson and her team at Animal City got to work.
We step in when we can. And the thing about this particular case is that we were able to step in because we had a foster parent family.
Right now, Zeus is on a trial run with a loving family.
Drop it. Good boy.
Hanging out with his possible soon-to-be brother, Skeeter.
You know, hoping things continue to go smoothly for this trial run with this new potential adoptive family.
A second chance.
This is our best success story yet. Oh my gosh. Zeus.
Zeus zips and zooms today, only made possible by others.
And this is just one example of what the organization does. It is fairly new, but it is growing, and it does rely, though, on people to foster.
And if you want to, and if you can open your home to an animal, just visit WCNC.com for more information.
We are day 5 of the Summer Games in Paris. We're just a few minutes out from tip-off.
Let's go.
The U.S. men's basketball team taking on South Sudan.
And look, the team is hoping they can come back even stronger after nearly losing to South Sudan earlier this month during a pre-Olympic exhibition game. Charlotte native and 4-time NBA champion Steph Curry now adding Olympian to his resume. Plus, Bam Adebayo, who grew up in High Point, North Carolina.
Oh,
he grew up in High Point, North Carolina. I remember Bam from his high school days.
Okay.
Anyway, he's also on the team. He helped
Dropping
the U.S.
names.
he helped the U.S. win gold at the Tokyo Olympics.
All right, so here's a look at the latest medal count in the Olympics. Team USA tops the rankings with 28 overall medals so far. Host country France second with 22, and Great Britain rounds out the top 3 with 17 medals, beating out China by just 1.
We've had the Olympics on all day in the newsroom.
This is what happens. It's amazing that we get any work done watching the Olympics.
Well, thank you for joining us for the news at 2:30. You can find these stories and more on our website or on the WCNC mobile app.
And we'll be back with more of the day's top headlines at 6 on WCNC Charlotte. Have a great day.